Welcome back to the Infinite Endurance Podcast. I'm your host, Philip J. Sebastiani, and on today's episode, we have the first ever prediction show. Yeah, and on the show today, I have Ryan Hill. He is a two-time champion of the Big Texas Ultra 100K. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Happy to be here. I'm excited for the weekend ahead of us. There's a few cool storylines, and I'm excited to see it unfold.
I had this crazy idea probably like last weekend when I was biking. I was like, you know what? I'm going to see if I can break down the race a little bit more. There aren't any races in the state of Texas like this. There isn't anybody who's following storylines, making predictions in this manner in the state of Texas. So I was like, why not be the first one? So I'm trying to trailblaze, trying to bring a little more traffic to the podcast, and trying to find something that I hope people enjoy listening to.
Yeah, I'm for it. It makes it fun and exciting.
Oh, yeah. And the Big Texas Ultra is in its third year. I'm just going to share some facts here and we'll get rolling. So in its third year, this year there are 14 of the 56 potential qualifiers. So at each of these qualifier races, 7 men and 7 women can qualify in the longest distance that is held at each regional. And this year, 14 have decided to line up. There are a few people who double qualified or triple qualified, so that number is a little lower, but it is more than in the past. So with a figure like that, we are able to talk about every athlete on the 100K championship start line, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. This is the third year going for the championship series, and it's exactly kind of what I guess Briston envisioned for this to slowly grow and grab attention to others and get more people involved. And it's pretty cool to see. I mean, Texas is so big and diverse, and it's pretty cool to see the competitiveness of it and the championship series part of it. It's cool to earn the medals and make the big piece, but I'm more interested in seeing the competitive part of it. And it brings the most competitive, serious ultra trail runners from each section of Texas and north, south, west, east. You go those directions and the trails are so different and the people are so different, and it's cool to bring them all together in a central location like Austin Hill Country. So it's exactly what I guess was supposed to happen, and I hope it continues to grow and get a little more attention and get more people involved.
That's all great. Perfect segue. We're going to break down the course here for you all listening. This year we've got front runners who have elite level numbers on Ultra Sign Up. We have some deep age group battles and a couple of wild cards who, I think we've both been texting back and forth who could absolutely just blow up the race in the best way possible and make it a really exciting day. So here with the course breakdown. So new this year, if you've been listening to the pre-race episodes, the course is in a different location than it's historically been. So third year, new course. And this year, it's kind of in two venues. It starts in Flat Creek Crossing Ranch in Johnson City, and it goes through some of those trails and then crosses into Pinellas Falls State Park. And a majority of the race is actually in the state park, from what I've gathered from looking at the course map. It's 2 loops of 50K each. There is about 44 to 4,600 feet of gain throughout the whole race. There is going to be a mix of dirt single track, rocky trails, grassy sections, jeep roads, and last one I checked the weather, it is going to be in the mid 80s and about 60 at the start. And the race starts at 7 a.m. So Ryan, you've ran, twice already on a course that has a 50K loop, and kind of just talk about the old course for us and what that looked like.
Well, I was before I even raced the first Big Texas Ultra 2 years ago, I was excited for the 50K loop part. Most ultra distances in Texas are multiple loops, 3 to 5, 6, 7, 8 loops for 100K. And so a, a 50K loop is less mentally hard. I believe, after the first loop, you just need to make the decision to go on the second loop, and the second loop will ride its course. Whereas you have to make that decision 5, 6, 7, 8 times on other 100K courses in Texas. So yeah, I'm excited. I was excited for that. So I think it's the same concept. The weather seems a little bit warmer than it was last year and the year prior. So that may become a factor, especially during that second loop, the start of the second loop. So it'll be interesting to see, how the racers handle that and handle the heat when it pops up.
Yeah, and we can think of this 50K loop in kind of three parts. So miles beginning to 10 is really the flatter access trail sections and nothing too crazy. And they'll have an aid station at mile 3, the overlook aid station, which is going to be the highest point in a Flat Creek crossing ranch. And I think this segment, just seeing how things unfold is, I can't imagine much jostling for position. They won't be in daylight yet. There might be a headlamp or two, but I think if they're playing it right, they got to be careful on some of the climbs, especially those early ones, to not run them too hard.
Yeah, definitely. You wanna keep a gear dialed back at all times on that first loop, I think, and especially hydrate really well on the first loop because the start of the second loop, that's going to be the tell sign of which runners have hydrated and prepared for the temperature change and the exposure.
Yes, and then as they cross the border into the neighboring state park, that's where it gets real. That's where the technical trail and bigger climbs come
Hmm.
into play. So this is miles 10 through 25 in the loop, and there's going to be more single track, rockier sections, longer climbs, and a majority of the gain is in that section of the course. So I think early on, maybe we might see some hiking, especially on the steeper grades and especially on the descents. You don't want to roll an ankle or put yourself out of the race from the get go. And they'll hit a couple aid stations on this part. The Lone Star aid station, which is basically going to be their saving grace on this part of the course because they'll hit it twice. They'll go up and hit Country Club Water Station at mile 21 and a half. They'll hit Lone Star again when they're inbound. And really, that transition happens almost a half marathon into the loop. So, very interesting that it's laid out that way.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting. I'm not sure many of the runners have that are on the entrance list have run on this course or not. But it'll be interesting because there'll be a lot of figuring things out on the first loop. I'm sure on when you can push and where you need to be reserved. But I think the general idea is through the middle part of the loop is where it's going to be technical, and you may need to be extra careful in the first loop so you can gauge where you're going to need to be on the second loop.
And then as you approach the marathon mark and make your way back towards the start finish to start that second loop, it's a pretty much downhill and more runnable sections, Jeep
Yeah.
roads. So I think we might see if some folks are starting to feel good, maybe they burn a match or two to catch up or maybe space themselves before they hit that major aid. Hope these things happen because it's gonna be really cool to see firsthand. And really they get to do it all again. So if maybe they made some
Yeah,
mistakes the first loop, they get another chance.
it is a pretty diverse loop, and it'll be interesting to see where each runner's, put their forte, at display, whether it's climbing the technical, being smooth in the technical, or if they open up on the flats and create a distance or a gap between the runners, and or if they hang in a pack, or if they try to stay within sight of each other and stay reserved. I can't wait to see it
Yeah.
unfold.
Yeah, I think this course also lends itself to the all-around trail runner, so people who can climb on technical terrain and people who can descend on technical terrain and people who can run fairly consistent on flat.
Yeah, definitely. Which is a pretty good description of how Georgetown Loop is. Georgetown, the previous Big Texas Ultra course, Lake Loop around Lake Georgetown is PK, and it's almost the exact predicted elevation gain as this course. And you got your technical section in the middle, and then you got some single track runnable section, and you got some flat sections where you can really open up. So it almost sounds I've never been on this course or at this state park, but it almost looking at it, it could be similar times to compared to the Georgetown Loop at Big Texas previous years.
Yes, and I appreciate Asher and Briston for seeking out a place that could as closely replicate the original course because a lot of folks who especially qualify early in the year are expecting training on something similar to this loop, and I think they got as close as they possibly could to replicating the loop in Georgetown.
I don't know, but I did hear Alex's pre-race podcast with you earlier in the day today, and she, I know for a fact, has been on the course here at how do you say it? Please say it for me.
I'm not
Pernalis
even sure
State
I'm
Park.
saying it right. Is it Pedernales?
Pernalis.
State?
She's been on the course, and she's definitely been on Georgetown course as the returning champion. And she says Georgetown's a little bit harder than this course, so this could be a little bit faster in some way, but we'll see. Every
Yes.
course is different.
Yes. All right, so that is our course breakdown in a nutshell. Really looking forward to seeing it in real time this Saturday. And now I just want to hop into the men's race preview here. So with the men, the numbers are already setting this up to be a showdown, but potential for a one-sided victory. You know, there's really a top tier here on paper, and the clear favorite is Nicholas Whitcop. Just with the caveat, still new to the ultra world. I mean, Ryan, I know this might sting a little bit, and you can go into specifics, but he did break your course record at East Texas 50K on a hot, humid day. But from what I hear, the course was a little different, right?
No, the course was the exact same.
Exact same course.
Yeah.
So I think that shows a level of fitness and ability to suffer when it's hot and humid like that.
Hmm.
And he's making his 100K debut. My impressions from like the pre-race was that he really just wants to be patient. And he said, if someone goes out hard, I just don't think there'll be that challenge for him.
Well, I think that somebody going out hard is a good possibility because also on the men's field, I think we've got some younger guns, younger comparative to most ultra distance entrance people. And so who knows who might challenge him in that first loop going at such an easy, slow, ultra pace. Who knows who might challenge him and how he might handle that. But I think he's got a good mindset for it. This is his first 100K, I believe. So this is a new territory for Nicholas. This is a new territory for him, and I believe a new trail for him. I don't think he's been on this trail or any part of it. And I think it's wise of him to want to go out conservatively and run his own race. And, but it's going to be interesting. Some people really nail, there's always that thing like everybody's first intro into the distance, majority of the time just can nail it sometimes and not overthink things like somebody it's like a veteran may tend to do at this distance and just overthink every aspect of it and get in your head. And I think he's got a great mindset. I don't think there's going to be anybody that's on the field that's going to put a gap on Nicholas. So it's just a matter of we got a lot of newbies on the well, I guess we do. So this is going to be a matter of who's most in tune with their body and knows what they need and can predict the elements on the as far as the weather and the temperature and staying hydrated and salted and who's trained for it. So yeah, it does look one-sided as far as if you look at the ultra sign up, history and times like that. But we got a lot of new people here, so
Yeah.
anything can happen.
Yeah, and you mentioned salting up. Like that is something I think a lesson he really learned from East Texas, and he's prepared to salt up this weekend. But you mentioned the young guns, and man, I am excited for this division in the race. There's actually
Well,
going to
I
be,
guess they're young. How old are they? They're mid-20s, right?
yeah, 20
Got
to
a 2 or
29 in
3 of
that
them?
division. So I actually wrote down their ages too. So as we go through, we'll see. So first is Zayden Luna. He qualified at the South Texas 50K in third. Uh, and he's the youngest competitor in the field, 20 years old. So fairly new to ultra running. I mean, you consider like what maybe me and you were doing when we were when we were 20. Like it's very
Hmm,
different than what
yeah.
he's going to be undertaking here this weekend. Blake Higgins, 23 years old, making his K debut. Alec Hernandez, he's 26 years old. He placed fourth at the North Texas Ultra, and he ran 12:10 there in his first ever ultra. Like he skipped over 50K and 50 mile,
Just
went
jump
from
straight
marathon straight
into.
over to 100K. And I interviewed him in the pre-show, and he showed a lot of maturity for someone his age in the ultra space, and like how he wanted to race and how he wanted to fuel.
Yeah, I heard his show as well and, that episode, and, he seems like he's dialed in, nutritionally, it seems like he's got the right mindset and, he's learned some lessons and, yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, and then also Bryce Enox from Seattle, Washington. I tried to get a hold of him, wanted to do a pre-race with him, but didn't get a response, unfortunately.
He's got a pretty, fast 50K time,
Yeah, he's ran
I
4:11
believe.
at South Texas last year, which that's fast on that course.
That's
Um, I,
pretty fast. That's
I don't
it's
know if
right
that's
there
course
with,
record or is that faster than Heimbeck's? I didn't check that.
I don't think it's course record.
It's not overall course
Maybe
record.
a minute or 2 shy, but
Close though.
I don't have it pulled up.
Yeah. Sorry, y'all. Y'all can fact check and then mention it in the comments. But yeah, if he does show up, he is someone who can definitely challenge Nicholas. I think, and because he also has just a little bit more of the 20 to 29 age division. He has the most experience in ultras. He's done a few. But then podium threats. We still have Carlos Arana. He qualified at South Texas, first male, but second overall behind Alex. So that is something to consider. And at that race, he PR'd his 50K over an hour on the South Texas Ultra course, which is
Wow.
one of the tougher
Yeah,
regional races.
that's a
So
big
I can,
improvement.
but yeah, he's definitely what would call a quiet contender. I think he might, if he plays it right, sit behind and pick off and then charge into the men's podium later on in the race. All right. Since there are so few in the men's race, there's only two more to mention here. And I got to give them credit because I'm excited about their potential head to head because Scott Hilton and Steve Cambrick, they both qualified at the North Texas Ultra and they were only like 10 minutes apart there in their finishes.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
definitely
so it
might
could
have
be a
to see, they
showdown
might be
between them.
showing down. And Scott's looking to complete the series. This is the last race for him to get the whole Texas state medal. Steve did run last year on the Georgetown course, and I'm sure he's looking to improve on his 100K time. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I think it's cool to break it down and research the whole field like this and get a breakdown and see, who's competing with who and what to look for when we're out there this weekend.
Yeah, I think the storyline is actually quite simple. Like, I think Nicholas will run away with it, or will some young guns shake up the podium and give him a run late in the race? Or does it become a tactical race from the beginning because Nicholas wants to stay patient early on?
Do you think
And
uh do you think Bryce has I forgot about his 50K time at 4:11, which is that's solid. That's about the same kind of 50K pace. Similar, I'm sure courses are different as Nick. So, Bryce given more experience in ultra distance running. Don't you think that he should be up there as well?
Hmm. Definitely, thanks for catching that. Yeah, I kind of grouped him into that young guns category, but not without singling him out once more, and that if they are packed up, especially those late race tactics, mile 40 on to the finish, he has the experience of being in that situation and running for that long, not longer. That is definitely a good advantage to have in that moment over someone who is in their first 100K.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think generally the men's field, if you look at their ultra sign up and how many races they've done in the ultra sign up world, there isn't a lot of experience, like you mentioned earlier. And I think one mistake could change everything that we're talking about right now. You know,
Yeah,
Alex could come
definitely.
out of nowhere.
It's kind of, I think, my hot take. I think, the women could definitely play a role in the podium here this weekend.
Oh, yes. Looking at the overall podium,
The
the
overall
women's field,
podium, sorry.
yes. Yes. Like the women's field is the most competitive race of the whole weekend. So the Big Texas Ultra not only has the 100K championship, there's an open 100K, there's a 50K, 15K, believe a 30K.
Mhm.
Don't quote me exactly.
And we got quite a few entrants in the open 100K, I believe, as well.
Yeah, and historically, the winner of that tends to finish just outside of the podium if you were to like move the times into the championship race. Because it may be
Okay.
folks who didn't do a qualifier, so then they can't be in the championship race. And the championship race does get a 15-minute head start over the open 100K.
I wonder if, Briston leaves it open to the runners if they want to start with the championship and run with like, at the open entrance, people, if they decide they wanna start with, the championship wave, if, he'll allow it, because the more the merrier.
Yeah, interesting to me. I saw one name on the open list who had qualified but didn't register under the championship race. He qualified at the North Texas Ultra, finished in the podium there. Dallin Tang, shout out to Mr. Tang. Um, I remember seeing him that day at North Texas, and he elected to just do the 100K open, which I don't
Yeah,
know why, but
interesting.
we'll see. So you ready to hop into the women's race here?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Here for the women's race.
It is a very exciting front pack that has potential to develop. There's 3 women who on Ultra sign up are sitting at 94% or higher, which is pretty elite territory. And they all have a number of races under their belt. So they're not just like one, two, three people who have a high percentage. Like they've raced,
Mhm.
10 or more races. And just going through that list, Maria Haynes was one of the folks I interviewed this week, and she qualified at the East Texas Ultra, finished second there. She's making her 100K debut. All
Mhm.
of her finishes on Ultra sign up have been podium. And after this race, she is also signed up for Black Canyon's 100K.
Yeah.
So,
I've met Maria before, and she's, somewhat North Texas local here, who runs on my home trail here, Waterloo, from time to time. And, man, she's solid. I think she just started running not too long ago. I think she's in her 1st or 2nd year of running altogether, but she comes from a competitive background, and, she knows how to train. I see her on Strava, we're friends, and, she definitely puts in the work and, has been awesome. It's been really fun to see her progress into these ultra distances. And it's always exciting to get a fresh face who's, excited about the community and is competitive and wants to put herself out there. And I'm excited for her debut for sure.
really interesting to me though, from the pre race, she's going crewless. She's not able to have support, so she's doing drop bags. So
Okay.
I wonder if that will play into factor some of her transition times, but I'm sure she has it planned out. She's very meticulous in what she told me and how everything will be planned, and I think she will still have fast transitions, especially at that main aid station. as long as she doesn't forget anything, I think she'll be in good shape. Because that is also a potential to happen, forgetting something if you're crewing yourself.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's I would say that's a disadvantage not to have a crew member. If you're dialed enough and it certainly doesn't have to be that way, but when other people have crew members and pacers, certainly adds an advantage.
Yes. Now let's move on to last year's champion, Alex Walker. She qualified as South Texas 50K this year. She broke her own course record. She was first overall. She ran 5:05 at South Texas, which is pretty stout for how tough that course is. She's looking to repeat. She hasn't lost an ultra distance in over 2 years. So that's a fun fact. We both know Alex
Yeah.
from the Texas Outlaw Elite team. She is a workhorse. Like, she not only in her training, but lifting, she lifts heavy. She lifts often. She is just strong. She's also a coach herself. So I think she really understands her training and she's doing what needs to be done at the right time to prepare herself.
Yeah, I'm super excited for Alex and her going after her second, just backing it up. I think it's so cool she won it obviously last year, um, first woman. And I think what was her time? 12:19 or sub sub 12:30, I know.
Mm-hmm.
And I seen her over the years and she really does put in the work and she's super knowledgeable. She's been doing this a long time. She's very in tuned with nutrition, recovery, and she really puts together great training. She's a coach herself, so she's very invested in the sport and the culture, and she definitely runs some fast times. And I'm I'm a little bit biased here. I got Alex for the win. I had her for the win last year as well. Listen, when you got such a smooth zone two and fast zone two running, and you've got the nutrition and you've got the consistency, and that puts together just the ultimate recipe for great performances of whatever you ask for yourself. And she's very dedicated. And I've become friends with her over the years, and she asked me to pace her for 10 miles on the second loop. So I'm super excited to get out there and get on the trail as well and see how I can help her start the second loop, which is going to be a very important part of the day, in my opinion, as the sun comes up and the heat starts to become a factor.
Awesome. That is great. Yes. We're really looking forward to the women's race, and really the last person who we anticipate in the front pack is Nadine Forrest. She finished second last year to Alex. And in her pre race, she said her one word was revenge. I don't know if that meant on the course or onto Alex. We don't know. We're calling it playful banter, which we'd love to see at a championship race. She
Hmm.
qualified East Texas this year. So she's making her way around, finishing all of the series. She's almost there. I believe she just has South Texas left. And she recently PR'd for 50K. She ran 4:49 at Pumpkin Holler. And really, my impression from her pre-race was she changed her training this year, was really mindful about her mileage, mindful about her intensity, with a really slow ramp up. Little hiccup, she had a little cold she's trying to get over, but I think she's on the mend and she'll be ready for race day. Have you met Nadine before?
Yeah, I
Last
have.
year.
Um,
Yeah.
I met her last year at Big Texas Ultra, and it was neck and neck with her and Alex last year. So I love the rivalry. I love the friend. It's a friendly rivalry and competitive nature of the two, and they're completely different runners. So
Mm-hmm.
it's for them to put their own race together and gets have such a close result at the end. It's cool to see that play out and how each runner uses their strengths and weaknesses and see it unfold. So
Yeah. And I think this is going to be a tight group. We could see the fastest podium at the Big Texas Ultra in terms of first to third this weekend. Definitely on Ultra Sign Up, their seed times, with a grain of salt, Ultra Sign Up are only separated by 40 minutes, which is a pretty tight margin in 60 miles. or 62 miles. And, that's really the difference between like having one bad hour, having to walk, having to fight cramps, having stomach issues. So I think it's going to be a true three-way fight. The veteran experience that Alex and Nadine hold, and Maria with her eagerness to perform, and how she's consistently performed up till now. She carries that through. I think it will be such a tight race.
I'm here for the women's race, I think. I'm excited to
Yes.
see it go down for sure.
Yes, and a few more in the women's race, right? We're going to mention everyone tonight. So Catherine Holbeck, she has run every race from the Texas Ultra Series this year. So she's made her way through. So she's actually qualified for the championship 4 times. She's finished in the top
Oh
7 in
wow,
every
so
single race.
she's run the max distance
Yes.
at each series event. Wow.
Yes, I reached out to try to interview her, and she declined for personal reasons, which is totally fine. But looking at her times, she is pretty steady from first half to second half of the race. So she's a very consistent runner. Crystal Riley, she qualified at North Texas Ultra 100K, and this will be her second 100K. And Cecilia Martinez also qualified at North Texas Ultra, and Crystal and Cecilia finished within 10 minutes of each other. So we could see a little race
Oh, cool.
possibly unfold between
Yeah.
those two. Yeah. I think overall, women's race, takeaways I have is that it's going to be an offensive battle at the front, definitely. Awesome to see some surges, see some moves being made, especially in that last 20 miles, which I think like after 40 miles, that's where the 100K race starts. Alex, Maria, and Nadine, they're all capable of running at the front. It's really who wants to. Alex has the most experience running at the front and dictating pace for sure. She does it in pretty much every race she's in. And we talked about that in her free race. But we could see a late race surge, and that could shake up the podium in the order. But I think me and you both agree that firmly, like one of those three women will be on the podium. It's just the order is kind of in the air. Hands down, the women's field has far more ultra experience. If you look at the whole, like just the female entrance list on ultra, all of them have done a lot of races. So we could also see, if we looked at the overall finishes, we can see a fair bit of women in the top 5. Okay. And really, do you want to do then? Let's just roll into it and talk about like our own like personal predictions. I'll let you go first. How about since we were just on the women's race, why don't you just start with the women's race?
I got Alex winning, and I've got Nadine in second, and I've got Maria third as far as the women's podium. I've got Nick in first, and I've got Bryce second, and Ian third for the men's podium. Hot take, I've got Nick overall podium here. I've got Nick first, and I've got Alex second, and Nadine third. I see 2 women on the overall podium.
That is very insightful, because I agree with that portion. Like 2 women on the overall podium. So it's my women. I think Maria is going to split. Maria will finish on the podium in second, and it'll be flopped either Alex or Nadine. And
Okay.
it's in first and third. I think she's going to split there. She's going to work her way up late in the race. And then the men, I think Nick and Bryce were my 1 and 2 also, I think, just on paper. And I think and they show up and work together. I think that would be great as well to see. And then, I have someone like Alec, who has made steady progress. I think he will sneak there into the men's podium for sure. I think from my impression from his pre-race, his level of maturity just really stood out to me. And I think he really wants to execute properly. And I think if he does, he'll be on the podium. But
For
But yeah,
sure.
it is going to be a very exciting weekend, and I'm really excited to.
What do you think the first runner split of the 50K will be? First
It's
loop.
going to be under 5 for sure.
You see it under 5? And
Yeah,
what about for the women?
like women. I think a lot of people do this. Sometimes they do it to the detriment. A lot of people like to run fast early when it's cool, and I think
Mhm.
more times than not it backfires. And I think also everyone being
That's a
peaked,
good point.
fresh, like running for the first 30 miles is in the tall order. But then continuing 9:30s through 30 more miles is where it gets hard, right? So, because
Mhm.
like 5 hours is 9:39 pace average, and all these people are capable of running that for 20, running it for a marathon, running for 50K. So it's just like, that second loop where the mistakes you made from the first, they're going to come out in the second loop. The carnage will happen if you've ran
Usually do.
above your ability. Yeah, we both know.
Very
We both
rare,
been there.
very rarely do they not. So
Yeah. So I can picture somewhere under 5 and then 5:15 for women for keeping it like, I think true, like if we want to be like honest about pace and like
mhm.
championship level racing where it goes out that tough.
So what are you
Are you thinking
predicting
slower?
overall? No, that's exactly kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah. Because I'm considering the level of attrition that will happen after that first loop. And I can see men's time in the low 10s and women's time in the 11:30, 12-hour range for this field, the winning times. So
Yeah,
then if you put in like the overall
especially
podium, yeah,
if especially we'll see how fast the fast sections are. They may be able to open up and drop that pace down quite a bit for a period of time.
yes.
In the beginning and end of the loops there.
Yeah. And I'm really excited to see tactics play out too, if there are or if there aren't. Like I was saying, me and you are going to be there. We're going to be catching footage. We're going to do our best to update. We're going to tag Briston so many times he gets annoyed of seeing Infinite Endurance podcast um, on his on his notifications. Yeah, we're going to do our best to follow the leaders, follow the race, and
Yeah.
there could also be someone in the open 100K that creeps in. 15 minutes really isn't that far of a lead. There could be somebody there who just didn't do a regional race, but wanted to do the 100K here,
Right. Yeah.
and they could. It is totally possible. And last year, I believe there was someone who finished with a faster time than one of the championship racers. I can't remember their name. You were there, so you know, like
Yeah.
top
I
5 or
don't.
top 6, something like that.
I don't recall, but it's totally
Yeah.
possible.
So there's
And
precedent.
there's quite a bit more entrants in this open 100K than ever any race, any championship race that we've done. So
Yeah.
definitely going to be a
So,
possibility.
one thing I've talked with Briston a few times, which I understand the reason why there's the regional qualifiers and the whole purpose behind the championship, but I'm saying, and if you really want this to be a true championship, there needs to be just a qualifying standard too. And you'll draw some of the best people, like whatever, like sub 10 for men, like
Mhm.
sub 12 for women. And if you've run that in the past year, you can run the Big Texas Championship. Like, I think that will draw a crowd because in a way, you're asking these people to put 2 races on their calendar specifically uh, towards this, right? Because you have to qualify and then you have to do the championship. But if someone chooses a different race for their qualifier, maybe there's a list of courses. He decides like, okay, these are eligible courses. Um, like they could be other Texas Outlaw races if you wanted, like, and make this just like a. There's
On any,
tons of ways you can play it, but I think that's something
and
where
we
we
may
could
need
see
to,
potential fields that are
yeah.
like 100, 200 if you had that.
Yeah, that would definitely grow it quite a bit and make it more accessible to more people. And it'd be cool if he created 3 M1 through 3 and F1 through
Yeah,
3 bib that can carry over from each year to year. That would be
that was
cool.
something me and you were
Being
texting about.
Yeah, entice the championship or the podium contenders to show up every year. That would add way more as well to competition.
Yeah, yeah. Just just reiterate that again. So if you're listening, Briston, me and Ryan Hill think you should add a clause that is F123 and M123. So the top 3 male finishers, top 3 female finishers from the prior year get automatic entry into the next year.
Automatic, yeah.
So similar Well, like exactly, almost exactly how
Like
Western States does it. But I think that would help getting people back and doing that. And I'm trying to look at the purse. Do you remember what the purse is for this?
they upped
Top of
it
your
this
head.
year. I believe it's don't I mean, please don't quote me on this. I
I
don't have it
found it.
pulled up, but 1500? Is it
Yeah,
1500 now? Yeah.
right. So in the championship, each finisher gets a golden belt buckle. First place is 1,500 and a trophy. Second place, 750 and a trophy. Third place, 250 and a trophy. So that price purse has grown significantly, and that is a fairly big one for the state of Texas.
Definitely is. Yeah. The biggest in Texas.
Yeah, me and you, we're gonna head down there. We'll be down there Friday night. We're gonna camp out in a yurt. I guess it's not really camping. Is it really camping if it's in a yurt?
Yeah, man, that's camping.
Yeah,
That's luxury camping.
luxury camping. We're gonna be hitting up the yurt, and then Sunday morning we're gonna be, or Saturday morning we're gonna be going up and down the course. And I think I may have volunteered me and you to take down course markers. I talked to Asher, so
Okay.
we might do that
Well,
Sunday. I don't know.
I'm gonna bring my mountain bike. So hopefully
I meant to ask you this today. Is it a hardtail or full suspension?
it's a hardtail. It's my wife's mountain bike, by the way.
I got a
Yeah, I don't
hardtail
have an
also. That's what
official
I'm bringing.
my own mountain bike, but
Yeah, my mountain bike's hardtail and actually have like gravel tires on it. So I hope it does okay. They're like a hybrid, more lean towards
like a
gravel.
hybrid. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if anything, I might
Well,
just stay on the easier parts. But yeah. Yeah, so that is essentially our course and field breakdown and our prediction show for the 2025 Big Texas Ultra 100K Championship. We're going to see some elite level front runners. There's going to be some strong regional athletes, like always. And I'm really excited for the age groups and how those settle out. And then, of course, the wild cards are also really exciting. And in an ultra, you never know what's going to happen. So we could all be completely wrong about everything we've said tonight, and that's fine. So if you're going to be out there, find me, find Ryan, and say hi to us, and we'll say hi back and can chat to you about some of your thoughts and your predictions. And really, we're excited to see how the race unfolds in real time, and we really want to share that with folks. We'll do a post race show also. I didn't tell you that yet, but Sunday night, maybe Sunday before we leave,
yeah.
we'll hop on and talk about fresh memories. But yeah, if you like what you're listening, subscribe to the podcast. You follow us on Instagram at infinite.endurance.podcast. And really looking forward to this weekend. Anything you want to share, Ryan?
Oh man, thanks for having me on. I think it was cool to break the race down like this. It definitely creates some more excitement just to bring an overall big picture of the entrance, and everybody's worked so hard to get here. So I'm excited to share the yurt with you and get some video of this weekend and see it play out.
To change our name to Yurt Boys.
Yeah, it has a good ring to it.
Does.